Ambassador Tai, are you saying that there is authority, that there is precedent for waiving the TRIPS process without approval of Congress? As I indicated in my opening statement, the law says that that can be waived only if Congress agrees. Do you disagree with that?
So, Senator Crapo, I think it's incredibly instructive to look at the early 2000s, the leadership of President George W. Bush working with the Congress across the board. The TRIPS piece was just one piece of what has become PEPFAR. I believe it stands for the Presidential or the President's Emergency Program for AIDS Relief. I think that was really a remarkable model of bipartisanship and leadership by the United States to address a problem that had really become untenable in terms of the ability of those suffering most acutely from HIV/AIDS to get access to the life-saving medicines that were technically.
Well, I understand that, but because of time, I want to get right to the question. Do you believe that you have the authority to waive the WTO TRIPS provisions without congressional approval?
Senator Crapo, I would put it this way. I believe I have the authority to negotiate at the WTO. And I think that what I would say is the provision that you cited earlier really has more to do with withdrawing the United States from the WTO as opposed to the authority of the United States to participate at the WTO as a full member.
Well, then, I don't agree with that, but given that, will you commit that in these negotiations in Geneva to discuss the waiver, that will you commit to this committee that you will oppose allowing any waiver to be extended to China and Russia?
Senator Crapo, I think that what I want to make clear right now is that in terms of the objectives of the waiver, it is to remove intellectual property restrictions as an obstacle to the ability to get the world vaccinated. And what I would draw your attention to is that the proponents, the main proponents, are India and South Africa, and that if you look at where vaccine inequity is most striking, it is on the African continent. So let me just say this, that I am committed to full good faith effort at the WTO, but the focus really is on promoting vaccine equity, and we will have to address the concerns of all parties involved and those whose partnership we require in order to come to a kind of resolution at the WTO.
All right, I understand what you're saying. Let me ask you this. At a minimum, can you confirm that this committee will see the text of any proposal you're dealing with or negotiating well in advance of you tabling it to the other trading partners?
Senator Crapo, I commit to consulting with this committee. That is why I'm here. That is why I will be here. When you ask me to come, that is why I will pick up the phone and pick up any call that is ever made to me. Let me put it this way in terms of the process that we're embarking on. It will require engagement in groups collectively and on a bilateral basis with WTO members. I commit to keeping this committee fully informed of how those conversations develop.
Finally, on this issue, I would just note to you, I think that this all shows that it's really important for the administration to promptly name nominees for the chief IP negotiator and for ambassador to the WTO. Do you agree with that?
Senator Crapo, I take staffing at USTR very seriously. Right now, I am the leader at USTR. Having USTR staff up is going to be incredibly helpful to me, and obviously those positions that you just identified are ones that will have to come through this committee, and we are working on those issues right now.
Well,